For the survey assignment, you'll be using a free tool called Survicate. And what you'll be doing when you sign up is you'll sign up for free, and it may ask you a few questions at Survicate. So you'll go to survicate.com, but it may ask you for what company you're working for. You're welcome to put SMWC, and then it might ask you for how many employees are employed there. You can answer like up to 200 employees, and then just set up that free account. So just fill in those fields. I've already talked to the organization. It's fine for you to do that. And then when you're allowed into the survey module, what you're going to be doing is you are going to be creating a new survey. So you should see a box much like this, and you'll click on this and you'll do a new survey. You're welcome to play with some of the other features, like creating it so it could be used on a phone if you would like to. But what we're going to do for this assignment is let's make it a shareable link via email. All right, and then when you do that, hold on just a second here. Oh, it's hidden. Hold on just a second. There we go. We're going to start from scratch. And again, I would encourage you to play around with the templates. That's great, but I want you to start it from scratch so that you're utilizing the research question that you create. So something that's going to be important here as you think about how your assignment is going to be graded, you've been asked to create a research question that you state in that introduction. So for example, if your research question is, what is the level of satisfaction for students at St. Mary of the Woods College, then all of those questions that you ask should be directly related to that research question and should add some new element of information. So be sure that you're not asking the same questions in different ways. And what we're going to be looking at here is, are the questions developed correctly? Do they progress in a reasonable order? Do they use scales that are easily understood and applied, etc.? So you would just add your first question. I will warn you that in this particular module or in this particular software, the thank you screen and some of the other features on the free version are not available, and this pop-up may come up, so just ignore it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create my first question. You would enter the question here. If we wanted to do a dichotomous, we could do, say, are you male or female? Oops, I spelled that wrong. And then you could enter male, female, and of course, you could also add another choice, prefer not to answer. All right, there's an example, and then we're going to add another new question. So this time I'm going to do a rating scale, and I would just enter the answer. We'll do a 7-point scale, add a new question. Maybe this one is a smiley scale. Enter the new question, and so on. I would encourage you to play around with this. For example, with the drop-down list, use a drop-down. Make sure if you do a drop-down list that your list is exhaustive. So think about each of those questions, and again, each of the questions should add something new. The first question in your survey should ask for their name. And again, I'm asking you to respond to all of your classmates' surveys as well. So that first question should be the student's name. All right, so make sure that you answer that so that you've got a good list of who has answered your survey. Once you've got all of your questions over here, you're going to go to Configure. You're going to leave this blank under choosing a tool. We're not using an email tool. You're going to leave these alone in terms of survey retaking. You are going to change survey status where it says you can close your survey so that it stops accepting new responses. Actually, just go ahead and leave that as enabled. You don't have to put an end date. You can just leave that. Then you're going to click Next. You're going to leave, if you want to play around with some of these things, like with Google Sheets or Microsoft Teams, that's fine, but for this assignment, you don't have to. Click Next again, and then it's going to provide you a link that you use. And so you would copy that link, If you want to let the audience answer the first question right from the email to boost your engagement, you could do that and play with that. That's just fine. So here it would ask you to get your code, and then if you know how to embed, that's how you would do that. But again, that's not required. But it would boost your engagement. Then you'd go to analyze, and this is where the analyze data would be. But now in my clipboard, because under share, I clicked here, that's now in my clipboard. So if I go into an email, I could then start a new email and put a new subject line in and right click and insert that. So I would encourage you to utilize the resources provided by Survicate. They have some great guides that are available. Play around with it. Do look at the instructions that were provided to you regarding once you get so many surveys, then you've got, like, I think it's the 11th survey that's responded to. If you have several people respond, then it's active for 7 more days. So make sure that once you get going, you move quickly and send it out to your friends and your classmates. You do need to have at least 10 responses to get credit for the survey. Make sure that everything aligns with the research question that you are asking, okay? And use those best practices that you've been learning through the class. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me. I'm happy to help in any way that I can. And I hope that this demonstration was helpful.